Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon.
Hey guys, Vanity, Ezel back on my for the Vanguard, Ezel and Vanity weekly video. If you enjoy it, don't type, comment, subscribe, and sorry. So I'm gonna get started before my computer kills itself because I may or may not have been using my computer a lot more in these last 4 days than I've used it in a long time. So yeah, my computer, I'm sorry about this. But let's go ahead and get the start and see what we got because we got a lot of reveals today. Some from the Lyrical Monasterio booster. We've got, I think it's going to be a new main grade 3 from Stoey because they revealed it. I mean, they didn't reveal its skill yet, but they revealed its art, and I'm like, that looks like main grade 3 material, but either that or it's a flag perk, that's some support cards. I'll take either one, and let's just go and get started. First up, we have Lunar, Rabbit, Inaba, Youkai. So here's a fun thing. When I was putting these slides together, I suddenly realized that Bushy has had an influx of cards with moons in the background of them since the start of D, and now I'm kind of curious to be like, if I were to go through every single card that Bushy has released in Vanguard, which would mentally kill me. If someone wants to sign up to help me with that, please do. But if I were to go through every single one and figure out how many of them have moons in them, I feel like D has already won that argument. Like, I don't know why, because I just feel like there's been so many more moon cards since like D started. Either way though, grade 1 boost 5k shield, 8k base. Auto rearguard when it boosts if your opponent's if your opponent's rearguard, not vanguard, was retired by your card ability during this turn. Choose one of your opponent's vanguards, and for every 2 of that card's grade, it gets plus 2k power for turn of battle. Cool. So it's a possible 18k booster if your opponent's vanguard is a certain grade. But I mean, cool. You know, that's all there is to it. It's a nice moon. It's one of my favorite animals, a bunny rabbit, and again, moon. But sadly, its skill is shit. Why do they always gotta give the cards I like for aesthetic the shitty ass skills? It's still a good card nonetheless, and if you want to run it, maybe because Vartex exists now, 2 of tech, I guess. Then we have Stalemate Dragon, and of course it would be called that. Grade 3 Tremors, 15k base, Continuous, it cannot be ridden, it cannot be called normal call to rearguard source without a Draco Tree marker on them. Continuous rearguard during your turn, this unit gives 2k for each of your Draco Tree markers on your rearguard circles, and then continuous rearguard during your turn, it gets plus 2k for every 3 cards in soul. So I was curious if how they would do the Dark States one, because the Brankgate one, and I think it was also the Keter one, like, had their abilities obviously based on the deck's normal gimmick. So I was wondering how they would do Stalemate, or, well, I guess, like, whatever the Dark States one would be, since, you know, soul focus, and, I guess it's a worse version of Undead Skull Dragon. I was really hoping they would just go the Skull Dragon route and be like, for every card in your soul, give it 2k, or if they're that afraid of it, make it 1k and just turn it into Amon on a rearguard circle. But it's not a bad grade 3, it still gets numbers, and it's probably going to have the easiest numbers out of all of the Draco Tree cards. So yeah, 2 over 3 if you choose to run in your deck. Then we have our new Trick and Treat line, Fenelle. So Hop and Step Fenelle, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 6k base. Again, the grade 0s are always my favorites. I don't know why. For some reason this time it's the shoes that I'm interested in. Auto and Rotapon, if you win second, draw a card. Cool, just a free draw if you win second. There's not much more I can say about it outside if she's cute. Then we have Where Is My Only Charm Fenelle. Again, I don't like the grade 1s anymore for some reason. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. Auto and replaced by writing from a grade 0. Look at the top 7 cards, shift to 2 cards with Trick and Treat, reveal them, add them to your hand, and shuffle your deck. So cool, it searches the deck's main gimmick within just being placed, and it can write from any grade 0, not just specifically Fenelle, and the grade 2 works the same way. So if for some reason the grade 1 ends up becoming not good and you have a better grade 1 option, you can use that, and then you can use the grade 2 just to hit the search anyways, because again, the grade 2, like the grade 1, doesn't require you to write from a specified unit as long as you just wrote from a specified grade. So all around pretty solid, it's not restricted to any specific starter, and it's a top 7 search for your main gimmick, and you get to add 2 of them to hand. Then we have With a Genuine Smile Fenelle, literally, like I said, the exact same as the grade 1, is literally the exact same skill. When placed by writing from a grade 1, top 7 search for up to 2 Trick or Treats. So all around, not bad. Again, it adds the deck's main gimmick times 2 to your hand, and it doesn't require you to write from any grade 1 specifically. So, you know, if you end up coming along a better grade 1 for your ride line that doesn't require a specific grade 2, you can just use that grade 1 instead of this one, and then this one can still do its skill because it doesn't require Fenelle, which all around I think is pretty cool. Whenever in the ride deck, I don't know why, the quality of her art seems so much better, but I like her less than I like this one, and I guess it's just because when you shove the whole deck together and then you look at it, or at least the way I look at it through tabletop, it seems like she's the only one that doesn't fit the color scheme for some reason. Anyways, we move on to our deck's main gimmick here, Trick and Treat. Grade 1 normal order, there's actually 2 arts for it. So the first part about is a normal order, continuous, you can have up to 16 copies of this in deck, so it works just like the meteors from Gravidia, so you can run both alternate arts at 8 copies each if you wanted to. I run a total of 11 orders, which I refuse to believe because I run the same amount in Gravidia, and yet I struggle to see them in Gravidia. And yet this deck, which arguably has less searching power than Gravidia does, to some extent, I somehow see the orders more. Never mind. Anyways, you can only place a card if you have a Vanguard Fenelle in its card name. Oh, look at that. The entire ride line meets that requirement. But you want to save these until you get to a grade 3 unless you absolutely have to. Perform one of the following based on how many times you've played an order with the same name as this card during your turn. One time, your opponent chooses one of the rear guards and may put it to mob deck. If they do not, you get to draw a card. So therefore, you don't get to pick the rear guard. They get to pick it, but they have to pick something. But they don't have to send it to bottom if they don't want to. But if they don't want you to get that draw, they're going to send something to bottom. Then if it's 2 times, you draw a card and countercharge 1. And then if it's 3 times, you choose up to 1 grade 3 less card from your drop zone, call it to rear guard. So how I first thought this was, I thought it was like any other card Bushy prints with similar text wording, where it is for each time and above. So, if it was 1 or more time, you activate this skill. Like, say, for example, you played it 2 times. Since this would say 1 or more times, you'd activate both skills, and then when you hit the 3 times, it activates all 3. Sadly, that's not how it works. So you can't just go on the 3rd attempt, I get to call unit, I get to draw a card and countercharge, and I possibly get to draw again, or I get to nuke a rear guard. No, you only get technically 2 draws at most if your opponent chooses not to send anything to bottom. You do get that free counter charge, and then of course you get to get a rear guard to board. So all around Trick or Treat's a very nice card to have. I run 11 of it. Like I said, in my build I draw these things consistently enough to where I've started to believe that there's more than 11 of them, but I can't really prove otherwise, so I'll take that as you will. And then we have thing I didn't realize her eyes were exclamation marks until quite literally this morning when I was putting the slides together, and that is triple X treat trick Fenelle. So grade 3 Persona Ride 13k base, continues Vanguard. During your turn, you can play 3 order cards, but you cannot play order cards other than Trick and Treat and Regalia's Piece. So you can play any 3 orders that are either of those 2. Which means you have access to the searching order, the one that causes Persona Rides, and you have access to at least 2 of these. Cool. That's nice to have access to all in one go. I'm pretty sure, I'm willing to bet right now, the original version of this card just said, during your turn, you can play 3 orders, except for Regalia's pieces, and they stopped it there, because I guarantee you, they thought the Regalia's pieces were going to be more broken than they are, and basically, they were like, oh yeah, Lyrical's fine with all their order shit, and then they did test playing, and then they realized this thing can cause some bullshit loops or something. So they were like, yeah, let's just name restrict it hard to these 2. I'm willing to bet that that's the case right now, that didn't have any restrictions outside if you cannot pick Regalia's pieces for that. I'm willing to bet that, but I mean, I could be wrong. And this other skill, which I thought was really good until I ran into the situation where I couldn't use it, which is why I think it's really bad, and that is Auto Vanguard. When it attacks, if you play 3 or more orders of this turn, counterbox 1 and choose one of your rear guards, and that and this unit both get a crit for the turn, and then if you Trick or Treat in your drop zone, all your farm you get to 2k for the turn. Okay. Consistently, except for the first game I played this deck, I was able to basically pull off a Persona Ride each first grade 3 turn because I had exactly 5 in drop. So that's cool. The other part about this is, it's very simple. It's not requiring you to play 3 Trick and Treats, it's requiring you to play 3 orders in general. 2 of them are probably going to be Trick and Treats, maybe one of them will be the Regalia's Piece, but the point is you're at least probably getting a Persona Ride off, and you're getting extra crits, not only herself, but a rear guard, meaning you have more pressure, and you just shove 8 crits into the deck and you pretty much guarantee a game. But here's the issue with this. If you run into the situation where you cannot play 3 orders, it has happened to me once. It was my fault. I shouldn't have ditched an order for a PG. I gambled because I chose the Persona Ride over. It was a bad idea. But if you run into the situation where you cannot use it, you cannot activate any of that skill, meaning you don't get the crit and you don't get the numbers. And I tell you this, the deck falls apart within 5 seconds if you do not reach that threshold. Do not take that gamble. If you, for some reason, have to choose between either taking a gamble of being able to use that skill and living and actually being able to use that skill, but taking the gamble on the living half, take the gamble on the living half, because I promise you it's going to be worth it if you actually get to pull off the skill, because that skill is bullshit. Either way, though, very solid grade 3, spams 3 orders a turn. All of these are fucking free and can literally save up your CB in one go, and again, extra crit on rear guard pressure, and also can be used when your opponent's at grade 2. Just think about it for a second. Persona Ride, extra crit on 2 units, all while your opponent's on grade 2, and, you know, you have your drive checks, which could be more crits. Take that as you will. And then we have our support for her. First we have Haunted Spot Elastina, grade 2 5k shield, 10k base. She's the other reason why this deck kind of falls apart if you don't play 3 orders in a turn. Auto when placed on rearguard circle during your main phase. If you play 3 or more normal orders or orders in general this turn, look at that, requires 3 orders. Slow boss 1, choose a normal unit with a different name from this unit from your drop zone, call it to rearguard. Okay, sadly she doesn't call it trigger, which sometimes there have been times I want to call it trigger, mainly because my drop zone is only filled with orders and I didn't want to ditch any of my normal units for ride deck. So, you know, being able to call only specifically normal units is kind of annoying, but being able to call anything that isn't her is pretty nice. And then auto rear guard when her attack hits a vanguard, regardless of what grade your vanguard at or the opponent's vanguard, regardless if she was boosted or not, search your deck for 1 trick or treat, reveal, add it to your hand, shuffle your deck. Okay, I never use this ability. Here's why. I call her to call something else, and then she normally gets blocked, and then everything, because I shove a critical on her, not from Fenelle skill, but from another skill, and I just happen to see a crit in my drive check, and I give it to her. Or, if I don't give the crit to her, I tend to swing her into a rear guard because I'm probably damage starving my opponent so the on hit doesn't go off anyways, and like I said, I draw enough of these orders to where I'm willing to believe there's more than 11 in the deck, even though I know for a fact there's 11 in that deck. So, for Vasanya, very good grade 2 on hit pressure, calls rear guard. Sadly, she only picks normally since she is restricted by that 3 normal order basis, but hey, she's not horrible, so 4 just because. Then we have Prank Explorer Crispina, my favorite card in this entire deck, and yet, of course, it's the card I see the least for some reason. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. Auto, she's placed on rearguard circle by counterblasting 1. You can search your deck or drop zone for a turn, trick or treat, reveal it, add it to your hand, and if you search your deck, you shuffle it. So, cool, if you don't want to search your deck for a copy because maybe you're out or maybe you just want to keep it in deck for other searchers, you can bounce a copy from drop zone back to hand like I originally did, and then I realized that I can draw all of them consistently to where I just chose to keep searching them from deck because that's just better. Also because I didn't realize she gained numbers off the ones in drop zone, and now suddenly my deck works a lot more functionably. And then continues rear guard if you have 3 or more trick and treats in your drop zone against with 5k power. You're almost guaranteed to hit that on first grade 3 turn. If you don't, you bricked hard. And my hardest brick with this deck, I still pulled off the deck's main gimmick on first grade 3 turn. In fact, again, that was still one of the games where I hit 5 of them in drop zone, so I technically got a persona right off of this thing. So, you know, you're almost guaranteed to hit that as long as you don't whiff every single search somehow, and even then, again, you're probably still going to hit it. So take that as you will. For Crispina for searching. Then we have One Night Witch Strayja. So grade 2 so 5k shield, 10k base. Okay, that ice cream cone is cool though. Auto when placed on rearguard circle other than by a unit card's ability. So let's just dissect that real quickly. It can be placed by order. It can be placed by normal calling. It just can't be placed by a unit card's ability. That is the most powerful. I'm just going to say that right now if you're not reading it. That is a good search ability. And normally when they make search abilities, they hard restrict that. And yet, for some reason, this one has the easiest one to pull off, and that's because you can't bullshit it. Because you cannot use this to multi-attack, because there are no orders in D currently, or at least not in Lyrical Monastery, that allow you to superior call during the battle phase, and while there are a fuck ton of units that can do it, Kyrie, this thing can't proc off its ability by that. So cool. Anyways, if you played a normal order this turn, as long as you didn't place it by a card's ability, you can place it by any other means. Soul Boss 1 to check the top 5, choose up to 1 card with a grade less than or equal to your Vanguard from among them, reveal it, either call it to rear guard if it's a unit, or put it to your hand if it's a normal order, and shuffle the deck. So sadly for you, it's only added to hand if it's a normal order, meaning if it's a Persona Ride, sucks for you, you're calling it, and if it's a Blitz order or a set order, sucks for you, it's going back to deck. And either way, though, it's nice that I can get rear guards. Again, she can't proc off herself, but it's nice to have. And then auto rear guard when she attacks a grade 3 or greater unit, regardless if it's a vanguard or rear guard. If it was placed this turn, counter boss 1 to draw a card, and she gets 10k for the turn. So that's kind of annoying, because if you don't call her the turn you use that, you can't use it. But on the bright side, this can call her, this can call her, and that's pretty much all you need to know. 4 of Strayja. She's just a good card, and there's not much more I can say about it. And then we have Rippling Quake Reversing Wind. Oh, hey, look at that. Random promo grade 3 gets revealed in a Blitz order that no one cares about. Grade 2, Blitz order played in your order zone. Play if your order zone has a set order. Choose a unit that's being attacked. I guess was 10k for the battle. And if your opponent's Vanguard was placed by a card's ability this turn, I guess was 30k instead of 15. I'm still very confident on the fact of whatever they're going to do with a Stride deck set is going to fucking break the game unless this isn't already their outright counter to Chronojet. So they're like, just in case it breaks the game, we're giving every deck a copy of this so we can counter those Stride decks in case things go to shit. I'm willing to bet that's the reason why these things exist right now. But I mean, take that as you will. If you choose to run it 2 of, I'm not going to run it, but take that as you will. Then we have Lavastone Golem, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 6k base. I swear I saw this thing in a dream at some point. Auto when placed when this unit is put on guard circle, called and put onto guard circle from the hand at the same time as your other card, it gets plus 10k shield on a battle. So basically if you card with 2 cards at the same time, it gets plus 10k shield, so 15k shield. So all around, not bad. It's a nice card to have, but if its base was higher, I would say it's better. The other issue is it had to be placed from hand, so you can't just give it intercept and move it into the guard circle. So it's kind of 50-50. It's not horrible. It's not amazing. 2 of. Then we have Garden of Bubbles. I can already predict this card causing problems. Grade 3, normal order, play it by counterblasting 1 if you have 6 or more units. Implying that Lyrical Monasterio has the capability to do that. I know it's referring to premium, I'm just saying. Draw 2 cards. Cool. CB1 to draw 2. I can already predict so many problems this thing will cause in 5 minutes, but I don't have the patience to go over every single problem. Let's just say that's going to cause issues in any rush deck. And when I mean cause issues for them, I mean cause issues for anyone that fights them. Take that as you will. 2 of, 3 of, 4 of, I don't care. Let's see what Chaos reigns with this. And next up we have Darkstate's version of the cards that recycle ride deck units. I'm really starting to question why Bushy is making like half of these generic cards, because some of them made sense, like the Trigger Nullifiers and I forgot what the Jewel Beast one, but then these last 2, the ones that are, I'm assuming, meant to counter Griffogila and whatever these things classify as, I don't know why Bushy's making them. It feels like it's just an irregular thing they're making for pack. I don't fucking know. But anyways, Enchanting Beauty, Rapturus, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. Although she's placed on rear guard circle by counterblasting 1 and putting a grade 3 card from your soul or drops in that was originally in the right deck back into the right deck face up, you can soul charge 3. Cool. It nets you 3 free soul. I can't say anything about that. It's a one-time use because it specifically has to be a grade 3. So unless it's a card that can change its grade while it's either in the drop zone or in the soul, you ain't yeeting it back into the ride deck. So I don't know. It's not a horrible grade 1, but it's like a one-time use soul charge 3. 2 of it. Now if it can hit any card in the ride deck, instant 4 of. But I mean, take that as you will. Or at least a 3 of, because CB. Then we have My Only Outfit, Wilma. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, continues rear guard. During your turn, if all units have different card names, she gets plus 5k power. Ah, that's why that looked so familiar to me. I was like, wait, different card names. Why does that sound so familiar in Lyrical Monasterio? There we go, Peltra. Very, very intriguing, especially because her hair actually matches. Huh, look at this. Us getting support for a, promo grade 3 with actual non-promo support. Yes, we kind of got that in Bartholomedis, but come on, Bushy. You can hand us a little bit more. We know you have enough to give us side grade 3 stuff. Come on, please, listen to this. You did it with Musashi. You can do it with the rest of them. And now we have our final reviews for today. First up, we have our story reveals, and that is Command of Death's Restraint. Grade 2 normal order. By discarding the top card of your deck, choose any one card from your drop zone with a grade equal to or lower than your Vanguard's current grade. Call it to rear guard if it's a unit, and add it to your hand if it's a normal order besides this card. So all around, I think that's pretty solid for just like good generic support, and can definitely do a lot for Alchemagic, because it's granted it's a mandatory skill, like the second you play it there's no cost to it, so you gotta do every part of it, but on the bright side it's a free mill, so it's not going to deck you out too quickly, but at the same time it could still add targets to your abilities for this card. Then of course you can get any one rear guard out of this, or you can just continue to bounce orders to your hand and replace them. So all around it's not a horrible order. I like it a lot. I think it's good for decent capabilities of Alchemagic and just generic splashing, so possible 2 of. And then we have Spoof Shade, a grade 1 that I really like, and I'm going to find a way to shove this into Alchemagic. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, continuous hand card. If you would discard an order card from your hand by your card's ability, you may discard this card as an order card in the continuous back or rear guard circle. If you performed Alchemagic during this turn, it gets plus 10k power. So 18k base if you perform Alchemagic, specifically in the back row though, so it's not an attacker sadly, but hey, it's still a very good grade 1. But the part I like about this is the fact that he can be used as the cost for something like Wander
Wandering Souls. Now that doesn't mean you can play him towards an Alchemagic ability, like he counts as an order in Alchemagic, but he does count as an order when calculating cost. In so many games, I have had Ye Wandering Souls in my hand, but not another order. There we go. Spoof Shade fixes all my problem one way. Somehow, I'm going to shove him in my deck as a 4 of amazing grade 1. I love him, sorry Rogue Headhunter, but this might be the end between me and my friendship with you. Then we have another grade 1 I'm going to have to find some way to tech in. There are 2 cards now. Normally I don't get that many cards that I want to tech into a deck. Like maybe 1, and then that tends to be easy to shove in because I know what I want to get rid of after time of playing. But now I have 2 cards I want to add, and there's only 1 card I want to get rid of in my Zorga deck. So now I got to figure that shit out. But anyways, Conceited Noble, Philander, grade 1 boost via Shield AK base, auto and placed on Rearguard Circle from hand specifically. So don't try killing it with like Tearful Malice and then calling it back from drop zone, something like Clouded Misma. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose to 1 card from amongst them, discard it, then shuffle your deck. Although I swear in the anime Masanori played this thing from fucking drop and still pulled off its ability. But either way though, being able to literally free mill anything into drop zones, such as a roaming Prism Dragon, or this thing that you can now call Rearguard, or itself, or quite literally anything to apply targets, is just all around a really good grade 1. I think Philander's amazing for that reason alone, and they could have just stopped it there and made it a double rare, but his other skill also makes it really good, which is why it's a triple rare, and that's continues Rearguard during your turn. If you have 10 or more cards in drop zone, he gets plus 10k power. And he is the reason why I don't want to ditch Hendrina, because I realized the one time I did ditch Hendrina, my deck suffered a lot in terms of being able to self-mill. So, do I ditch Hendrina and lose on that consistent 18k, or do I just deal with it? I don't know who I'm going to have to pick. If I have to pick one or the other, I might just pick Spoof Shade, but I really want to shove these both in at 4s in my deck just because they're both really good for numbers. And then we have my biggest disappointment in a while. You know, every now and again there must be a reveal that I have a disappointment in, though I didn't think it'd be 2 weeks in a row where there's Griffle Gila Vartex and there's this thing. Because with the way it was shown, I really thought this was a main grade 3, and it turns out this is just the Stoic Cave version of that Keter grade 3 we got a few weeks ago. Sea Strike Dragon Enlargulv. Grade 3, 200% on 13k base. Auto and placed on Rearguard Circle or put onto Guard Circle, which is up to 1 grade 4 card from your hand. Reveal it, and you reveal a card, and your Vanguard is also a grade 4. Apply one of the following effects based on the circle this unit is on. Either Soul Blast 1 and choose one of your grade 2 or greater cards from drop zone with a different name from this unit and add it to your hand. Cool. It can recycle Persona Rides. Well, actually, grade 4s don't have Persona Rides. It can recycle Rides, or it works for Griffle Gila, I guess. Continuous Guard Circle. It gets plus 15k shield time to battle. And auto and discard it from your hand for the cost of writing a grade 3 from your ride deck, or for the cost of Strayja, you draw a card. Man, and here I thought we were getting a cool new grade 3 too for Vanguard skills. Well, we had 2 W's today. We had an okay-ish generic card, and then we have you. I don't know really what to say, but I mean, hell, I'll take these 2 more than make up for this. Now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna go figure out how the fuck I'm gonna shove both these 2 into Zorga, and then figure out how I'm going to have to play that deck, and then beg it to finally work consistently when I want it to win. So, see you all then. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, don't follow Twitch, and I'll see you all in the next one. Don't extend up your Vanguards.